Welcome, everyone. We are so happy that you're joining us. I am delighted to introduce our special guest, Lindsay Wei, the founder and head martial arts and Qigong instructor at Wudang White Horse Academy, and the author of The Valley Spirit, A Female Story of Taoist Cultivation. Lindsay is a 24th generation Wudang Kung Fu practitioner under the Chunyang sect of Taoism. She teaches intensive and immersion courses in the high desert of Eastern Oregon and offers online classes in Tai Chi, Qigong, longevity practices, and sword. Welcome, Lindsay. It's great to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. So thousands of years ago, Chuangzi wrote that the fasting of the heart is a very practical approach to cultivating our virtues. And these days, most everyone knows about external fasting or refraining from food and liquids for health or spiritual reasons. And this is no longer a fringe practice, but for many, a strategy for living a long life. Can you tell us what the fasting of the heart-mind means and why it might be a beneficial practice for people today?
Yeah. So Xin Zhai, or fasting of the heart-mind, and for the purposes of today, I'd like to think about it as fasting of the mind, because I want to kind of focus on what it means to fast from thinking, the constant kind of part of our nature that is always having thoughts streaming through our mind. So I'm going to kind of refer to it as fasting of the mind, even though the word Xin is often translated as heart-mind. I think that there's that relationship between our thoughts and our feelings, or our thoughts and our emotions, and the totality of that. But for today, again, I think fasting of the mind is how I want to refer to it. So I think this practice has many layers. I think that on one level, it is about our inner cultivation, or our seated meditation cultivation, where we are attempting to empty out the mind, empty out our self, and come to a place of emptiness, stillness, and peace, so that our intrinsic nature, our spirit, can come back into our body and reside in the body. So that's one kind of facet of Xin Zhai, or fasting of the mind. I think it's a useful concept because we are more familiar with this idea of fasting from food and how that can benefit our health, allow our body to reset. But we might be less familiar with the idea of fasting from thinking, or even fasting from consumption of a different kind, the things that we consume with our mind more so than with, let's say, our mouth, and digesting food and taking in nutrition in this way. But if we think about fasting not only from thinking, or the habit of this constant activity in the mind, but also fasting from what we consume with our eyes and what we consume with our ears. And so, to me, a huge part of what we consume nowadays is media, virtual media. And this doesn't allow our physical health to flourish. I think that, when we're engaged with consuming something visually or audibly through media or devices, our body is very inactive, and yet our nervous system and our brain synapses are very active, and so this doesn't allow our body time to rest and integrate what we're perceiving in our world around us. And so fasting of the mind, I think, includes taking time to be present, especially in the physical reality, and even better if we can be present in nature, so that what we're consuming with our eyes and our ears is nourishing our body and mind.
Yeah. Yeah, this is so important these days because electronic devices, as well as the sheer amount of media, have extended the capacity of our nervous systems to think and feel more than ever before. And it seems like as a society, we've become overstimulated and very restless. So, how do we remove our addiction to media and compulsive thinking and overstimulation of the nervous system?
Yeah, well, I think that there's two parts to it. One is simply having the inspiration to change or bring into balance our consumption of media stimulation. So just the notion to reduce it, reduce the amount of time spent, on the computer, on the phone, and remembering to inhabit our physical body and our physical realm. And then I think also, as far as the actual lessening of this activity of the mind, we do need the practices of qigong and seated meditation. For however long you can sit or practice in a day, this helps cultivate that stillness or emptiness. It helps calm down the mind and the nervous system to put time into seated meditation or qigong. So these are the tools that we can use to help cultivate this idea. But again, even if you're doing qigong or seated meditation for an hour every day, you also have to remember, what about the other 23 hours of the day where we're moving through the world, on our phones, on our computer, and even when we go to sleep at night, how active is our mind? So I think that we need to apply it to all areas of our life. And sometimes it's really just about making the decision that you're going to change habits in your daily life of what you do, how you spend your time, and what you consume.
Yeah. So, in a bigger sense, this has to do with the word ecology, which is finding some kind of internal balance. I always used to think that the Taoists were the original ecologists because they understood that hot and cold and wet and dry and all these different energetic qualities of our internal organic landscape needed to be in balance and harmony. So, how does a practice like this impact our internal ecology?
Yeah, so I think it's great that you see that relationship to this Taoist worldview, where we see the interrelationality between all things, internal and external. And so we have our internal landscape and our internal ecology, and the way that all of our cells are interacting as an organism. And then we also have the way that we relate to our environment, and the impact that we have on the environment and the impact that the environment has on us. And so to think about, ecology in the sense of qigong, to me, it's an important connection to make, because if we're choosing to respect our own bodies and take the time to cultivate qigong for the health and longevity of our own ecosystem, our body, I think we also need to take a look at how are we respecting the external ecology, the external environments, and the relationships between all things in the ecosystem of the body of the earth, the body of the planet. And so I think that this kind of ties into what we choose to consume or not consume, thinking about the longevity not only of our own personal life and body, but also the longevity of our habitat. And, I think an interesting part about the ecology from the perspective of Taoism is that we also include the celestial realms, so the heavens. So we have this concept of tian di ren, which is the relationship between above and below and in between, of heaven, human, and the earth. And so, what I am suggesting or trying to convey is that we really start to see our own practice of Qigong as interrelated to how we treat the health and longevity of the earth.
Yeah, I know this is near and dear to your heart because I've watched you engage the whole fire situation at your retreat center, and it's been really amazing to see how you've attempted to create, to work with the earth in such a way so that it becomes a more harmonious, balanced situation in your little corner of things.
Yeah, we can only work on transforming ourselves, really, and I share my process of how the world and life and my own personal destiny is teaching me or revealing to me the shifts that I need to make in my own consciousness and my own awareness and how I live my life. And, experiencing the mega fire on my land where I was running my programs was the moment or catalyst for me personally that I needed to stop me in my tracks. And I think that this stopping in our tracks moment that we all maybe come to at a different time in our lives, and maybe on different levels and repeatedly throughout our life. Because, and I think that this links to the concept of Xin Zhai and fasting of the mind, because fasting of the mind in a way is knowing how to be content and knowing when to stop. Because the mind is similar to this fast-paced train of society that is constantly buzzing, and the lights and the electricity, that's kind of like the hub of our mind on a more external scale in our society would be kind of like the grid in a way, is how I think of it. And so to draw that back in, to fast from that kind of constant forward motion and growth, and come back into stillness and into our bodies, being content with what we have, knowing when enough is enough. This is all part of the Xin Zhai concept to me. But yeah, so encountering something such as, a wildfire, as humans, sometimes we need that kind of direct witnessing of what's happening to the planet, and what the effects that we're now all seeing in our lives of climate change. So what does it take to awaken to the reality of that? For me, it was this moment of my land burning and feeling that loss, and allowing it to teach me how I can do better and how I can give back. That's the other thing too, is like to talk about, just respect and virtue of how we live our lives and how we treat our body and the body of the earth, and just kind of pausing to take a look at our participation in that, if we are participating. So yeah, the fires have taught me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think human beings are wired in such a way that we need shock treatment in order to wake up. And I wish we could awaken in a different way, but it seems like that's how we're wired. Anyway, to come back to practice, which I know is the center of your life, what is Dragon Chi?
Yeah, so Dragon Chi, let's first talk about what many people understand or associate the dragon to be, the associated with the element of wood and the east and springtime and the eastern quadrant of the sky and the constellations therein. Also, related to the five elements or the five phases. We have the dragon kind of representing the liver gallbladder. And so we have all of those associations, but for today, I want to look at the dragon chi as all five elements. That the dragon chi is the energy of these elemental forces in nature and also inside of our own body. In Chinese culture and history, we see the dragon representing rivers, waterways. We also see it representing ley lines within the earth, or the Long Mai, the dragon veins. And so those ley lines then kind of push upwards into the ridge lines of the mountains. So we also see mountains as being depicted as dragons. And dragons also associated with mythology. We sometimes place them in the sky, surrounded by clouds. So to me, the dragon chi is the energy of the landscape, the energy of the land, the power within the land. And then related again to our own human body, it's our meridians and energy lines. It's our blood pathways, our veins and arteries. It's our bones. It's all of these things. So to me, in this moment and in the context of the practice that I'm going to teach you, which is Long Qi Gui Yuan, the dragon chi returns to the source, I'm seeing this dragon chi as our elemental energies or powers. And to call those back into the body is to call the five elements back into the body and bring those into harmony and balance. And to, again, I think that we can use these symbols, these images of the dragon as being the mountains and the waterways, to help us make that connection between the internal and external landscapes and how that all relates to this calling back our spirit or our power or our dragon chi into the body, and letting the landscape rest in a way. Kind of like, I was relating this constant thinking to the electricity that's flowing through the grid of our society. And if we think for a moment, if all of that shut down for just a brief moment, the quietude that would occur and result from that. So that's kind of this feeling that I would like to convey through this practice and what the dragon chi represents.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun and very useful. So we're looking forward to practicing with you.
Great. Shall we get started?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so we're going to take a standing posture with feet shoulder width apart. Then just take a moment to connect to your breath. Inhaling softly into the lower abdomen or the lower dantian. Breathing in and out through the nose, relaxing your body. And so this first posture that we're going to learn is called Long Qi Gui Yuan. The dragon qi returns to the source. We will breathe in, raising the hands up above the head as if pushing up on the heavens. Relax the shoulders. Take a moment here just to breathe into this posture. Good. And then on the inhale, parting the heavens, letting the energy from above come down in through the crown point. And then exhale slightly, ever so slightly, as if pushing apart two mountains with the palms. Connecting here to the human realm, the middle. Relax the shoulders, drop the elbows. And then breathe in, gathering into the heart center, into the middle dantian. Exhale, dropping your awareness into the lower dantian. And breathe in across the belt line, nourishing the kidneys with your palms. Then diving over, opening up the Mingmen above the sacrum on your back, exposing it to the energy from above, tracing the fingertips along the toes and then up the insides of the legs. Breathing in and then settling back down into the lower dantian. Good, let's repeat. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out, pushing apart two mountains. Breathe in, gathering into zhuang dantian. Breathe out, sinking. Breathe in along the belt line, nourishing the kidneys. When you dive over, lead with the top of the head. Hands trace along the yang meridians, connecting to the earth, drawing up from the earth through the bottom of your foot, coming up the inside of the legs and the yin meridians, and integrating into the lower dantian. Good. Again, breathe in, breathe out, connecting to the heavens. Parting the heavens, absorbing energy down through your crown point, pushing apart two mountains. Good. Calling back the energy of your five elements to return to the center inside of your body. And hands can gently graze the surface of the skin, or they can stay in an energetic space around the body. Diving over, keeping legs straight, opening the Mingmen, tracing down the sides of the legs and up the inside. Inhale, exhale. Harmonizing 天地人, heaven, earth, human, above, below, and in between. Good. This time, if you haven't tried this yet, go ahead and keep hands a little distance away from the body in the energetic space. Diving over, tracing along without touching. Stretching through the back of the legs, then bend the knees, tuck the pelvis, come up. Allow the mind to come to a place of stillness, focusing only on the breath and the movement in the body. Expand, pushing apart. Breathe in, gathering the chi of the 5 elements back into center. Breathe in, circulating chi and blood, nourishing the kidneys, following the flow of the meridians, tracing in front of the foot, on the inside of the foot, drawing energy up through the kidney 1 point, the yongquan, up the inside of the legs, and integrating into the body. Harmonizing heaven, earth, and human. Eyes can be gently shut, leaving just a little bit of light coming in, or they can be open, looking at a 45-degree angle down towards the ground. Tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Coming up. Good. Let's go 1 or 2 more times. I'll show a modification in case you have trouble bending over. So we'll breathe in, breathe out, open, and expand. Gather into the heart center. Sink, relax. Good. So if you have any difficulty bending over, you can open across the belt line here. And then just bending the knees, sinking down through the pelvis, and tracing in front of the knees and up the inside of the thighs like this. Good. One last time, Long Qi Gui Yuan, and then we'll move on to a different movement. Quieting the mind, inhabiting the body, being present in the moment. Calling back the chi of the dragon, drawing up from the center of the earth. And harmonizing the internal and external, heaven, earth, and human. Good. Coming to a close at the lower dantian. Good. So next I'm going to lead us through a different Qigong set. This is from 5 Animals Qigong, and it is the movement of the dragon. We're going to do it stationary today, but the actual form moves left and right across the floor. So just maintaining this standing posture, feet shoulder width apart, knees slightly bent. Relaxing, sinking your mind down into the earth to remain grounded and relax the muscles stacked up on your bones, reaching out through the top of the head. Good. And so we will begin with breathing in, hands expand, and exhale, hands compress. Inhale, 2. Exhale. Yin qi dao dantian, guiding the qi into the dantian. 3. Good. And then lifting the hands, palms face forward, and you'll take some tension through all 5 fingers, pushing forward like a dragon's talon, grasping, closing into a fist, holding tension through the forearm. Breathe in, and then breathe out. Holding tension through all 5 fingers, grasping, drawing in. And exhale, push out. Grasp, draw in. We're going to then have right hand go under left hand, crossing, release the tension through the fingertips, come back to holding the ball, turning the ball, and opening to the side. Breathe in, twisting. One hand goes under, hold the ball passing through center, and twist and open. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in. This time, the open arm curls and dives. This arm holds up as if holding up a cup, diving into the water, and back hand curls under, open. Three. Good. Other side, holding up a cup, dragon diving into the water. Back hand scoops under and open. Two. Breathing in, twisting. Breathing out, coming back to center, passing through, holding the ball. 3. Breathe in. And diving with one hand and circling back. Last time, breathe in. Breathe out. Good. And diving into the water, this time scooping. And then, as if flapping your wings, 2, coiling through the spine, 3. And on the final one, we gather, drawing back all of our energy into the body and storing it into lower dantian. Good. And then let's circle left, up, right, down 3 times. Good. And then 2 times in the opposite direction. 1, 2. And coming to stillness. Good. And then opening across the belt line, settling the chi down the outside of the legs. Left foot comes in. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you. I really felt like my dragon got chilled out. So I know people will want to follow up with you, Lindsay. Can you share any upcoming programs and your website so that they can contact you?
Yeah. So my website is wudangwhitehorse.com, and you can find everything you need to find there. I have online courses as well as an archive library of courses that I've previously taught. And then you can find out more information about my in-person programs there. I have a camp coming up in May for Tai Chi, and then a camp coming up in August for Bagua. I run those every year at a similar time of year, so they've been tending to fill up kind of quickly. So if by the time you see this or take a look at it and you're interested, if it's already full, maybe think about next year joining us for one of these camps. I think that's about it.
Thank you so much, Lindsay, for a very provocative and inspiring and wise session. I really thought it was wonderful. And thank you all out there in the Shift Network audience for joining us. I will see you soon.
Thank you.